Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent sat down with our Brian Sullivan earlier today. They were on the sidelines of China trade talks in Paris. They made some headlines as well about the war in Iran and, of course, the Strait of Hormuz. Brian joins us now. He's got a lot more for us. Brian.
Yeah, easy for you to say, David. I'm the one that's jet lagged. I'm probably going to do that about 10 times. But we had a wide-ranging, about a 15-minute long, just totally off the cuff, unscripted interview with the Treasury Secretary this morning at the OECD headquarters here in Paris, France. And we talked about a lot of things. They were coming off a meeting with the China trade delegation, as you referenced. Of course, that's kind of how we opened it. And it was interesting because there's some articles out there today that say President Trump, may delay this expected meeting with Xi Jinping in Beijing that's supposed to happen in April. And the reporting effectively suggests that because of the war and because of some problems with China maybe not helping out with shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, that meeting may be delayed. So I asked the Treasury Secretary about it, and he pretty much went after those reports, and he said they were, for lack of a better term, not true.
There's a false narrative out there that if the meetings are delayed, it wouldn't be delayed because the president's demanded that China police the Straits of Hormuz. It would be
because there was a report out to that effect this morning.
That's completely false. So if the meeting for some reason is rescheduled, it would be rescheduled because of logistics. The president wants to remain the NDC to coordinate the war effort.
So basically said those reports are indeed false. I was going to use a word in French that I figured, but then I realized our audience is global and would probably know what I was getting at. Then we, of course, pivoted to the issue of the day. That is the war. That is the price of oil. That is the Strait of Hormuz. That is the shipping blockade. And there's this, listen, everybody's hoping that there is some kind of undoing of the risk of the logjam of the shipping. I don't want to say the strait is closed because plenty of ships have gone through. And in fact, Secretary Bessent talked about that in a way, and he said that Iran, the U.S. is allowing, and I'm trying to be very careful parsing my words here, David and Sarah, the U.S. is allowing Iranian ships to go through the Strait of Hormuz, and that there's also maybe a bigger shortage, daily shortage of oil than some in the market may think. Listen to this.
It looks like the deficit is about 10 or 14, and that's before any of the ships are coming out of the straits. So if you think about the Russian oil, that is somewhere between 9 to 11 days, 12 days of supply without the market moving. There's Iranian oil that's out in the water right now, about 140 million barrels. The Saudis, they have supplies stored around the world that they can release. And then the global SPR release, largest ever, it was 400 million barrels.
So I know you guys, listen, we hit Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, UBS, everybody else. They've all got their own estimates. There is the estimate that not only does the Treasury Secretary have and use, and they would have pretty good information, guys, but remember, Scott Bessent, former longtime, extremely successful, extremely wealthy hedge fund manager who actually did a lot of work in Riyadh back in his previous life as a fund manager. So the 10 to 14 number, but they think that we can make that up. And again, it all comes down to how long this lasts and how long that deficit goes on.